So it is that time for another EZA TUR tier list. Now, it's been a little bit since I did the last one. I think it was Tech Ultimate Gohan's release, which was on the 8th of May, if I'm not mistaken, right? Tech Ultimate Gohan. Yep, May 8th right there. So it's been a while since we got another EZA TUR. I feel like, about 2 weeks to be fair. And we got for this week Physical Kid Buu. He did officially release. It's a super easy, and it do include super easies in these kind of tier lists here. As always, the super easy seem to be releasing like the third week of every month or so. So we could probably anticipate super easies to continuously release on the third week of every month. It just makes the most sense, right? You know, Gotenks, I believe, came out. Did it come out the 19th or so? I guess I forgot when Gotenks came out. But we'll take a look at it when we get to it. But Physical Kid Buu is the newest EZA here, and we're going to go ahead and rank these characters in the top 10 tier list fashion, which we do have right here. So I just got a bunch of like random notable characters. Some fit list, some don't. And we'll take a look at everything here. I mean, there is a lot of EZAs, by the way. Oh my goodness. But yep, Super EZAs have been really crushing the game, and this Physical Kid Buu Super EZA is really, really good. They give him really good upgrades, such as damage reduction. The 70% support he gives to Extreme Class now is really insane, right? But in terms of how he matches up to the top characters, we'll take a look at it right now. So just starting off from our number 10 spot, we have Int Future Gohan, which is kind of crazy. I mean, Int Future Gohan, he came out for Worldwide Celebration last year, all the way back in September, and it's been some time since then, man. I mean, it's kind of crazy. How many months is that? It's been like 8-9 months or so. I think closer to 8 months, yeah, for sure. Since this guy actually originally released, and he's still not definitely a bad character. But of course, if we're comparing him to the other characters that are releasing for post 9th anniversary content, this guy is definitely intended for that worldwide celebration level of difficulty content. In that sense, this guy does not match up really too well. I think the issue with this guy is that the damage reduction obviously being, it can activate mid-turn, but without this reduction, his base form is very weak. Sometimes you can't even take normals without the reduction. So what could happen is that you take a lot of damage from a normal, and then you fall into the HP threshold, and then you could tank normals, but then you take a big chunk of damage, or, you know, worst case scenario, even you get instantly supered. You can get instantly supered, right? And then you don't even have any reduction. What could also happen is you could still get hit, take a big chunk of damage, and then you get supered after. Even with the damage reduction, they just hit so hard that you're like under 50% HP after you get hit by this guy, and then you die, right? You know, that is the issue with this Future Gohan and the current content now. I think back then maybe it was definitely much more excusable, and his defense was actually still pretty decent. But right now, I don't know. And then Trunks is not really the greatest right now. I mean, this guy with his reduction up all the time, if you have a full Bond Master Disciple category rotation, he's still not too bad. The toughest normals, though, still will actually do some damage to him, if I'm not mistaken, because he doesn't really have any multiplicative defense before attacking. I guess I'm thinking of the Gogeta Blue AoE. Post super attack, he should be fine against majority of the normals, but some of them may still hurt him. Because it's not like his stats are going to be super mega good. Unless you have him with Tech Gohan. I guess maybe with Cold Judgment on the family, but then Tech Gohan's not Bottom Master Disciple either, right? So, I don't know why he's not Bottom Master Disciple, by the way. He should still be on the team, but whatever. Also, no more Android Future Saga enemies, so he's not as strong as he was once, right? Next we have Ijo Zamasu, again, another character where I think he has actually phased better than Future Gohan in terms of 9th anniversary content. This guy is a stacker. You're able to stack him up more. He has the 50% reduction, right? But I think that it's like nice to have a consistent still 50% reduction there. It's not bad at all. He does provide some healing at the end of turn sometimes. He has start of turn healing if you're like lower in HP, right? Which is not really too impossible to like expect yourself to be under 90% HP at the start of turn. You don't really see this anymore, though. He can't really be slot 1 viable, so he's going to stack Even though he has more time to stack, he stacks less, I think, a lot of the times. You could probably get away with this in like the Gogeta Blue fight, where there's multiple S tier phases. You know, this guy with type advantage and having 50% reduction will work really well in a fight like that, right? Luckily for this guy, a lot of S tier bosses are, I think, like kind of roaming around, or like S tier phases in some of these bosses. So the AGL type, I think, is in a beneficial state right now, where this guy's able to, like, I think, smoothly get by, like, better than what future Gohan is. You don't really ever like become the, I guess it's called the mutated form in the wiki, but you don't really ever like transform the active skill into the fusion zamasu that's corrupted. But I mean, you could in niche situations, and then you get a huge damage boost. I just don't know if it's gonna be too viable. I mean, I never tried it outside of the Gogeta fight. I think I tried it in the Gogeta fight once. He does provide a little debuff, which is cool. So he'll lower the Gogeta's attack by 10%, which could matter, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think the defense loss is something we also should consider, because he is 50% to 30%, but that's really that. I would have those two at 9 and 10. Once were the king of EZA TURs, but now they have fallen a little bit. Next 5 S tier Super Vegeta. I mean, this guy, unfortunately, he should have been better. He's not bad. Like, again, I think, luckily, EZA TURs, like, I'd say 3 months ago, we're in a pretty bad spot. Right now, EZA TURs, especially with the inclusion of Super EZAs, have been really good, I think, and that's awesome. In terms of Dokkan Fest anyways, right, we do have ban unit EZAs, I think, have also been really good. But, yeah, just mostly a thing where 9th anniversary gave us literally, we got mostly LR EZAs, and, you know, even like the months leading before that, we got a lot of LR EZAs as well. So this guy coming out here, I think he was, unfortunately, like him and Bardock, I don't know if they were given the love that they needed. I mean, Bardock's not even on the list. Poor Bardock, I don't know. But anyways, this Vegeta, again, the 5-turn guard really hurts him. I think that, like, him wanting to have the cell condition, like, all of this is against a cell, and I think that's really dumb. That's like, look how much text this is. He gets extra stats, guaranteed guard, a guaranteed additional super attack. Well, it's all of this basically, but that's huge, right? And then he wants to build up, but you can't really be around slot 1. I don't know. He's kind of weird. I think, again, there's situations where you can make this guy look very good. Like he's kind of like a clip kind of character, where like, oh, you get the active skill, you're able to put him in slot 1 in certain fights. He doesn't get super attacked, and then he does like a 40 mil attack stat, and he does 2 40 mil attack stats if he gets an additional super, and you're like, oh my goodness, he's so powerful, he's so strong, right? And his heights are definitely super up there, right? But I think, like, everything else besides those like mega turns you could set up, he's just not gonna be too consistently great. He's good, he's not bad, but, you know, I feel like there's gonna be other characters who will, over the course of the entire fight, perform better in a lot of other situations. And, you know, losing his main defensive mechanic after turn 5 in a meta where I feel like a good majority of the fights last until, like, let's say turn 7. Sometimes some fights last until like turn 10. Man, this 5-turn guard will not cut it, right? So that sucks for the Super Vegeta, but he's still good, and, you know, at least 8 is not the worst spot. He could just not be on the list like Bardock, right? So there's that. Next we have Super EZA AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I do like this guy, but I think that he has a little bit of issues in terms of defense, because he's very reliant on the dodge, and then if he doesn't dodge, some normals could hurt him really badly. There are situations where you can put him in slot 1 and he gets this 60% chance to dodge before attacking. I feel like he could have just had the, I don't know, like, instead of 30% chance to dodge before attacking, it should have just been 30% chance to dodge in slot 1, maybe. It could have also been, like, or like, give him 70% dodge in slot 1, maybe that would be too good, but 60% dodge in slot 1, I think would be fair, right? Before attacking is fine too, but I think, you know, just a little more consistency with, like, his main defensive mechanic, which is the dodge, and I think that would go quite a long way. Now, in terms of damage, this guy from the rip is also really good though. Not only is he spreading like crit damage, which, you know, I find useful. Like, let's say, in fact, this guy right here, literally this guy, like he released, and I think he made this Goku a lot better. Like, the thing about this guy is that he's providing the 20% crit chance support. This guy for the first 5 turns is getting 80% crit chance in his kit. So he allows this guy to guarantee crit for the first 3 turns, which I think is very cool. Like a little partnership there. And he has his own, you know, crit chance that he is able to get built in here. This high chance to crit for 3 turns. He has crits in other situations as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to find it specifically, but over time he dwindles down and getting that crit chance, right? But he's still pretty good. I think, yeah, no, he is guaranteed critting at the first turn as well, which is very useful, right? He could do 3 additional super attacks, you know, or no, 2 additional supers, right? So he could do like 13 mil, like triple 13 mil, usually something like I see sometimes like 15 mil if you have support, right? Yeah, I want to make this guy look pretty. Defense gets to like, I don't know, 800k, maybe sometimes a million, depending on support, depending on equipment. But, you know, it's like a thing where he could usually eat most normals in the game, if not all normals. But then, you know, a super attack would be what kills this guy. And, you know, if he's on slot 2 or 3, a lot of the times he's going to be very reliant on 30% chance dodge. If you put him in slot 1, a lot of the times the super attack is in that first slot, and he's again relying on the 60% chance dodge. Is the only thing. Some RNG to him for sure, but I think that this guy is able to look quite good if you're able to get the good luck with him. And I think overall, in terms of a consistency thing, I had more of a good experience with this guy compared to, like, let's say S tier Super Vegeta. But that's just my own usage. Maybe I'm not sure many people would argue Super Vegeta over this Age-O Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but if you would, let me know in the comments below. Alright, next we have STR Kefla at our number 6 spot. Now, I guess I'll put the next 3 characters here. We'll put in Gotenks and then Super Saiyan 3 Tech Super EZA Gotenks. Which maybe is... Okay, so if you've seen my previous tier list, I actually had Kefla, like, I had it like this, I think. But I think, again, some things did change. Firstly, again, I've had more usage with this Super Saiyan 3 Int Gotenks and the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. There's the introduction of the new Majin Buu Saga team, which I think is a very powerful team. And I think one thing Kefla is kind of missing is like a really strong team where she could truly like spread her wings. Another thing is that I'm taking the opinion of some global players and people who have used Kefla compared to Int Gotenks, like I believe, I'm not sure if exactly the Master Singin said it himself, but we were talking about it one time. And it's like a thing where some people do actually prefer Int Gotenks over STR Kefla because of the key sphere restriction. And I think that's a fair thing where you could say, okay, with STR Kefla, there's setups you have to do. I think STR Kefla doesn't really have as great of a setup, right, compared to, I think, even Int Gotenks or Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Let's say Int Gotenks, for example. A lot of people compare those two and see they're similar. You know, in Gotenks, the thing about him is that even though he transforms technically like a turn or 2 after, he is able to be slid into teams a lot easier. He has, I guess, a little bit of a higher dodge chance early on. He does not have to rely on the orbs on the field. He's just straight up doing what he's doing all the time. And I think that is valuable. Again, he works very well as a floater as well. So in terms of aging, I think he's also going to age a little better. I think this guy, in terms of damage, STR Kefla definitely takes the cake for sure. But I think in terms of everything else, probably, even like in terms of the pure defensive stats, the dodge chance just being consistent without the key spheres, this guy is also guaranteed critting. So, you know, if your Kefla doesn't crit, this guy could potentially just do even more damage on like very certain turns. Now, I think Kefla is a character you build full crit for sure, or like additionals to crit really heavy mix. So she could probably crit very often in certain builds, but this Gotenks has a thing of consistency. No, to be fair, Kefla is like, her attack stats are so much higher. Like this Gotenks could do like, I don't know, 15, 17-ish mil, but then Kefla is doing like 20 23 mil, etc. Because he's like really stacking her attack, right, which is really insane. This Gotenks also has a stun. I do like the stun, actually. I think it could be very useful. Kefla doesn't really have any special tech like that, and again, it's a thing where she has to rely on her key spheres, and I feel like, you know, Kefla's partners aren't as good as Gotenks' partners necessarily. And Gotenks, I think he just has like better places to be used. Now, again, these two, I think a lot of people are arguing is very similar. I think Tech, Super EZA, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks ended up being better. Now, I feel like initially I was correct in my assessment of him under them. It's just that he has a team now where he could very, I think, arguably consistently get his 11 key super attack. Because the thing about this guy is, I had trouble getting his 11 key super. Because, like, on Topo's team, there's Rainbow Orb Changers, there's tons of key support. His best partner was Int Gotenks. So it's like, you know, especially when you transform into the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, it's like he's always going to be at 12 key. Major issue, right? But the thing about this guy now is that he is able to get 11 key very easily, and the reason why 11 key is important is because at 11 key he gets a 50% built-in crit chance and 50% damage reduction, which is pretty huge. On top of that, he's still getting a high chance to dodge, just a permanent high chance to dodge, so that means he has a high chance to dodge, right? Which let's say, for example, compared to Super Saiyan 3 Goku, only medium chance, but he also can get 50% reduction and a 50% chance to crit very commonly. I think this guy does really good attack stats, right? When he's fully built up, this man is doing 20 plus million attack stats, right? Very powerful. And again, if you get the 12 key, he's not going to do nearly as much damage. He has a little bit extra dodge, but I believe the dodge chance again is also multiplicative, so it's again, well, it's separate, so it's 50% dodge, then a separate 33% chance dodge. But again, the reason why it's very common for him to get the 11 key on the Super Saiyan 3 Goku team is because the only key he has a lot of the time is over in a flash. So with just over in a flash, you just have to get 2 key, and if you are moving the key sphere field correctly, I don't really find it hard to just get the 2 key spheres. Again, it's not guaranteed, but I think it's very much easier of a trade-off to have to worry just about getting 2 key compared to, let's say, Kefla getting 6 key. Then his performance, I think, overall is also better than Kefla and Gotenks, because sometimes he doesn't have to rely on the dodge. Sometimes he could just eat the attack with his 50% reduction. I've seen this guy live super attacks with just his 50% reduction, but he also has the 50% chance to take 0 damage, which is very huge. And at the same time, he's doing like 20, he's doing like 25 mil plus attack stats, right, from this guy sometimes, and he's doing a lot of damage if he crits especially. He also has this little support buff, which is useful because extreme class allies, sometimes you could throw some of them on the Majin Buu Saga team. You can run this guy on the Fat Buu variant of the team, and he's providing 33% attack to the like Majin Buu characters for 3 turns, right? I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I guess the only thing you could say is this guy's not really slot 1, but like I feel like who here is really slot 1 out of these 3? None of them are really slot 1, so that's one thing there. But yeah, this Tech Gotenks, again, I've been really enjoying them. Yeah, we see April 18th, so pretty much the 3rd week of every single month is when we more or less see the Super Easies to release, so that's good. Now, yeah, I think physical Kid Buu is insane. He is above the Gotenks to me. I think that, yeah, this guy's just pretty crazy for an EZA. I think they made him really, 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 really good. At this point, you know, this is the main focus of the video. So I'm going to put the other 2 spots, Tech Exchange Buu and Tech Ultimate Gohan, I think also do fit here. We'll talk about them in a bit, but just to focus on Kid Buu, I think the one thing about him is that it could be a little troublesome to get the full hits for him sometimes, but I don't really think it's too bad. He needs to receive 4 attacks, and once he receives the 4 attacks, he has 60% reduction, which is really strong. Post super attack, this guy is getting to like 800k defense. But like I've seen this guy, like, you know, especially with raw defense equips, which I get mine, like, let's say, I think a raw 600 defense equip. I've had this guy live, like, some of the hardest hitting super attacks. In fact, I wonder if I should bring up... Oh, yeah, give me 1 second here. Okay, I just wanted to show this clip. Let's say, for example, this is him linked with a physical Buhan, right? On this turn specifically. Then he's just taking the normals for double digits. Again, this is what I was saying right here. Is like, okay, he barely got his full build up right now on turn 8. And it can be a little difficult sometimes to get his full build up, depending on the situation. But right here we see he gets super attacked by this Gogeta Blue, and he eats it for 289k. Now, if you guys weren't aware about how hard this, I said Gogeta Blue, but the Super Saiyan Gogeta, it's attack phase of this fight. If you weren't aware about how hard this guy exactly hits, where is the event? It's down here. He hits for about 2.3 million damage. If you take a look here, 2.3 mil before the attack raise, actually. So it's actually close to like 2.5, 2.6 mil once we get this little attack stat in there. Because it's 30% of this attack that's added to this value, if you guys weren't aware. But the thing also is that he is a super class character, this Gogeta, obviously super tech. So to extreme class characters, he will end up doing more damage, right? So he is able to live that super attack, which is very, very, very massive, right? Being able to live that super attack right there as a support character, because yeah, again, this guy's role is a support character, right? And you know, he won't really live the final phase here, but it's also an STR boss, so I'm not gonna hold it against him. And you know, you could say that this guy, like, let's say, you know, even if this guy was a physical boss or something, right, this guy probably still would die to a super attack that's hitting for 3.6 mil. Like, it's just gonna do too much damage, even for Kid Buu's numbers. But in most situations, he's able to very comfortably live super attacks. He's able to quite easily live normals. I guess this AoE that's fully powered up for, like, what is it, 1.4 mil or so could definitely, like, something like that, right? Whatever it is. Actually, I think it's like 1.3 or something. That fully powered AoE could definitely be an issue for sure once he gets this massive attack raise. But besides that, that's only before he super attacks, right? This Kid Buu is pretty much good everywhere. I think that his 70% support to extreme class is very nasty. Even though he's still providing 60% support to super class allies. He's providing a lot of key, even under the 70% HP requirement, which is not really, like on the Majin Buu team, it's not really difficult to get that. You're healing so much all the time. But he's still providing 50% support to extreme class, and then 30% to super class, which is not really too great, but you know, 50% extreme class support is really good. He heals end of turn, right, as well. I just find this guy, you know, even like in terms of his damage, like he has 60% crit chance built in, which is not really crazy, but well, I'd say it's pretty good. And then that alone, his numbers, he's doing like just a straight up 17 mil attack stat sometimes to me, 15 to 17 mil depending on the links that's active. And it's like, that's not bad. He's providing 70% support attack and defense, right? So he's not only helping your entire rotation offensively, defensively, which is obviously what a support unit does. He lives a good chunk of the super attacks in the game. Then on top of that, he's also doing his own 17 mil attack set with a 60% crit chance, which is, I would say, is pretty nice actually, for especially for a support character, right? Just a flat 17 mil attack set with a 60% crit chance build, and I'll take it 100%, right? And if he gets an additional, like, you know, that's pretty good actually. I think he's very well rounded. I think they did a great job with this guy. Again, maybe this, sometimes I've had issues building this up once in a while, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal. I do think that it's enough where I would say exchange moves better, just because this guy doesn't really, like, he's good defensively throughout the entire fight. I think Tech Gohan turn 3 could be a little iffy, but I think this guy is going to be very more consistent throughout the entire fight. And I think you have to worry less about these guys, like, you know, being on rotation and building up than this Buu. And I think that, you know, their value overall, what they provide, especially Tech Gohan, if you get him in a good spot, this guy's value is absolutely insane. I mean, again, if you want to see me talk about him in length, go watch the tier list video for this guy. Same for this guy, right? This is a video presuming you did watch those videos, but you know, this guy helps this character get a lot better, especially Super Buu. I had Super Buu live a Gogeta Blue super attack, you know, put after this guy's supers, right? But he was able to live a Gogeta Blue super very much because of this guy providing the 70% support on rotation, and this guy was doing like his own like 17 mil without any Rainbow Key Spheres. So I mean, I've seen this guy with Rainbow Key Spheres without Kid Buu support. This guy's hitting like, again, 17 to 20 mil. So imagine you get multiple Rainbow Key Spheres. This guy could probably do like a 25 mil attack set with a guaranteed crit if you get the Rainbow Key Spheres, which is very nasty, right? This Kid Buu could provide a lot to your team. And yeah, again, Tech Gohan, obviously very good. Exchange Buu, also very, very good. But this Kid Buu, again, lots of value for this guy. They also, again, just came out with the new Kid Buu Red Zone, which, you know, this guy I think does very well in that fight too. So there we go. That is my top 10 EZA TURs tier list right here. Again, Future Gohan all the way to Tech Gohan. Funny enough, Gohan on both sides of the little tier list here. Let me know what you guys think. If you would change anything about it. That's all for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.